Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
Well, we are up here in Crownsville proper at Bean Rush Cafe, and we are sitting here speaking today with the proprietors. I don't know that's the word. The farmers, the owners, the occupants, Bridget and Matt Jones, who own Wildberry Farm and Market. Thank you guys very much. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah, doing excellent. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes.
Well, Wildberry Farm Market, that's 3 words, maybe 4 words, depending on how you look at it. .com is the website. And this is just a wonderful farm that, has all sorts of events and all sorts of food and all sorts of everything that you've got that you don't really think you have in Annapolis or some of the more populated areas, or just outside the city limits. And you do claim to be Crownsville, but I'm going to say you're more Gambrels.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But the farm is located back at 1047 St. Stephen's Church Road. And I usually access it off of 450 and go the long winding road up there. And I didn't realize I was actually quite that close to Route 3 by the time I got there, but you can get it off of Route 3 up in Crofton or Gambrels area as well. Thank you very much for your time today. And I guess tell us about the farm. I mean, it's exciting. It's fun.
So I guess you want me to start with a little bit of the history of it, and then we always kind of tag team the description.
Works for me.
So the history of the farm, my family started there in the 1930s. On the farm. Originally, it was about 300-ish acres. It was a tobacco farm. Yeah, we did the tobacco up until the mid 80s, and then switched over to produce. And then one of the things we always say is my dad's generation kind of went off doing trade routes. And so we had a farmer down the road that was farming our fields that we know, an old family friend. Come 2019, he and a few of his brothers actually tragically passed away the same year. And that gave birth to Wildberry. Bridget and I decided, we need to do something with the farm and kind of take over operations. We love the farm. We've always loved. It's sentimental.
Okay. Well, so where did Wildberry come from? Was that the name of the larger farm? Or
No. And it's kind of funny because...
Or is that like Haagen-Dazs? It's just a made up word that we...
Kind of, actually.
Sort of.
So it's kind of two-pronged. My maiden name is actually Berry. So it's a little bit of homage to like my part in coming up with the new, I guess, I don't want to say like new generation of the farm, but kind of the new chapter.
So. Yeah.
And we have a lot of wild raspberries that grow in our woods. It's actually an invasive species. And it's kind of sadly choking out the native blackberries. So we're working with our property to kind of keep the wild raspberries, a little off topic, but keep the wild raspberries kind of contained and let the blackberries grow. We can chat about that in a little while if you want. But Matt and I actually were just driving back from Ocean City with our kids one day, and we're trying to come up with names. I think at one point it was called like Highfield Acres or Highfield Farm.
Something along
those lines, but never really had an official name. It was just the Joneses, Right. Everyone kind of knew each farm by the last name of the family. We were like thinking about what grows on the farm, what's cool that grows there. And I don't know which one of us said, but we were like, what about the wine berries? That's what we call them. And I was like, what about Wildberry? Or one of us said that. And kind of just from there, we were like, it's great. It rolls off the tongue. It kind of pays homage to me. But also, the farm. And so that's kind of the backstory.
The other part of the name too, the word wild. That is in there is important for us too, because one of the things that we like to do on the farm is we sort of let the farm, this is going to sound kind of frou-frou, but we kind of let the farm tell us what direction to go. The land itself is going to, nature does what nature's going to do.
You don't mess with it.
Yeah. And so for us, we try to find ways to work with it rather than try to control it so much, more so guide it rather than, and so it's something we're working on, but the idea of kind of wild, is important to us.
Yeah. So like, for instance, like we cut out all use of pesticides and herbicides on our farm the minute that we took over. And obviously, as you know, that's an uphill battle, controlling weeds, controlling pests. And how do you do that organically? So we have wild chickens. They're not really wild. They're contained, but, moving through our fields and things like that, just to kind of use more of a holistic approach, honoring the land, but also kind of letting it be the wild kind of entity that it is.
That's very cool. Now, how large is the farm?
At this point, it's about 75 to 80 acres split up between family members.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And then the Wildberry Farm Market, your specific place is that, do you utilize the entire property?
Yeah, so we actually utilize pretty much the entire property.
Yeah, one way or another,
in
yeah.
one way or another. So we do have some woods on our property. We use that to forage for mushrooms and the wineberries, of course. And then in terms of like working acreage, like fields and such, we have probably 15 to 20 acres of fields that we're utilizing.
It's not for the faint of heart.
No.
Farming.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
My girlfriend's is from Nebraska, and they're the big, combine
Mhm.
farmers and
Yeah.
everything else. And I've been
Yep.
out there several times to see it, and I a whole new found appreciation for the work and the farmers do. And
Yeah.
when you really get a chance to see where your food comes from,
Yeah.
it makes a difference.
It does.
Certainly when you get to taste,
Mhm.
farm fresh food, it makes a huge difference
Oh, yeah.
as opposed
Absolutely.
to, and I mean, I'll be honest, I grew up with the whole can opener, it was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that was the green beans.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's a whole different ball of wax. And I mean, healthier and
Yeah.
just everything, the way it tastes and everything else. Now, you guys are open seasonally.
Mhm.
Primarily, it's June through November, and you've got the first Fridays of the month, and then you've got the second and fourth Saturdays.
Mhm. Yep.
And do you do special events there as well?
So yes and no. We've done workshops in the past. We've done farm to table dinners in the past. Those are things that, as we've grown the field market and as we've grown adding the food trailer last year, we have a farm to table food trailer that we use at the field markets and other farm events. It just kind of was like, where do we put our time and energy between farming, executing events, and then unfortunately, Matt works full time off of the farm right now, so it pays the bills. But we need the manpower to do a lot of these things. So we don't like rent out the farm or anything like that, but we do. We have added a couple new events this year. We're going to be open for winter hours, where it's just going to be Wildberry. We'll have our fresh eggs for sale, other farm goods on our market stand, and then we'll have our farm to table food trailer open for breakfast items, and then some other things to go for the week. Like we have these awesome soups that we make, and breads and other bakery items.
Are all the recipes? Is that your brainchild there, Bridget?
So yes, Matt's okay. So the matriarchal side of Matt's family, I've really fell in with as I've been married to him. His both grandmothers had their special recipes. His mom has her special recipes. His sister has her special recipes. I have my special recipes, and I've kind of mashed all of that together to kind of create this best of Wildberry. I don't know if I've ever said that out loud, but that's kind of the brainchild behind it. So, our mint tea in the summer was Matt's grandmother's recipe. The Maryland crab soup, which is actually not crab, it's lion's mane mushroom, was kind of Matt's brainchild because his sister is allergic to shellfish, but used to love crab, and it was an adult onset allergy. And so we've kind of, and then like our pumpkin bread, that was Matt's sister's recipe. And so we've kind of, mashed a lot of things together from the farm, and it's kind of like a multi-generational offering, even in that sense as well.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. When you talk about the food trailer, is this portable, or is this on the farm itself?
Yeah, so we can take it around to other markets and in the area or other events. It is portable and roadworthy and all that good stuff. It kind of always makes an appearance at our field markets, of course,
Sure.
But it is available to go other places as well. We haven't done many events outside the farm just because of our time commitments, but that is something that eventually might happen down the road. But yeah, it was a new addition last year, and we've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's like, now, okay, Matt, you grew up on the farm for,
Yep.
I wouldn't say since the 30s because you're much younger than that. But I mean, Bridget, I'm going to presume that you didn't.
I did not.
Are you a city girl?
I grew up in the suburbs.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was this a change for you? I mean, obviously you had the buy-in.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
you were all in. But
I have to say, for lack of a better word, really bucked against farm life for the first probably 10 years that I knew Matt. I did not understand. I did not understand why we couldn't do things on the weekends. I did not understand why we couldn't hang out. I did not understand any of it. But I will say I'm a pretty handy person. My dad was a mechanic. My mom loved to garden. And so I do have outdoor skills. And I do most of the, chores during the week and everything. A lot of the heavy lifting, those 50-pound bags of feeds don't move themselves. Sure. But yeah, I had a hard time embracing it. And honestly, I think it's really funny that I'm the one that's kind of spearheading this, to be honest with you, because I was just such a princess before.
I will say Bridget's got a natural knack though, where she's got a green thumb that would put me to shame.
Mine is completely brown. A friend of mine gave me a money plant like 3 years ago, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I've kept it alive. Yeah. But he said the secret is to put like 3 ice cubes in every week. Yeah. And I'm like, that I can handle.
You can totally do that.
I find a good table that has a decent sun and 3 ice cubes a week, and so far we're going on 3 years. So if only kids were that easy to.
Yeah.
So is this? I mean, obviously this is a family affair for you two, and you mentioned that you do have children. Are they all in as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think Matt will definitely relate to this. When you're a kid and you grow up on a farm, you're not thrilled with your chores, but overall our kids are very excited to be a part of it. We have 5 grandkids on the farm, our 2 and then 3 others spread out over Matt's.
We're saying grandkids.
Yeah, not yours. Yes. My in-laws' grandchildren.
The next generation.
We have 5 total. We have 1 boy who's our son. He's 15, and then 4 girls. And they range in age from also 15 down to 5. So the 15-year-olds help us out with our events and things. And then our 9-year-old is the animal whisperer, I would say. She's a very she's very empathetic to animals. So she helps me with a lot of chores and stuff. But it's not the thing. It's like household chores. When you have household chores as a child, you're not thrilled to do it. Mm-hmm. But when you look back on it, you're very thankful for the upbringing.
Well, you are. I mean, you've got to be thankful for just everything. I mean, the opportunities that your parents and your family's giving you, and the food and everything else. And when you, and which is kind of a nice thing about living in Anne Arundel County, because we're so diverse as far as, from city and, wealthy and poor and everything else. Yep. And when you find, when kids get exposed to realize that, oh, yeah, I guess I am pretty lucky. It's a big aha moment.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. It is. Yeah. And I will say I do love the diversity of Anne Arundel County. I have to agree with you. Our son is in a magnet program at Annapolis High School, and he has experienced so many things just between farming and even city life, going to shows and plays, and I mean all the things. I just think that we have a great area here.
Well, was it very cool for you? I mean, you talked about growing up on the farm. I mean, did you enjoy growing up on the farm as a...
I did, yeah. So I've always been an outdoorsy person. So, I'd spend as much time as I could out in the woods, playing, whatever.
Getting in trouble.
Absolutely. There was plenty of that. I definitely had my fair share of chores, and I couldn't stand it when I was a kid. I can remember one of my first jobs that I do remember as a kid was running behind the planter. That the guys would ride on the back of a big tractor with a planter. And it's this kind of crazy Dr. Seuss automated sort of thing. You put a vegetable in there and it plants it. But I'd run behind there and kind of pack the plant and straighten it back up. And I'd run to the next one. And I hated it. I couldn't stand it. But looking back, I can honestly say that was such a great experience. And I learned so much, and it, helped build a great work ethic. And, I'm very thankful that our kids get to experience some of that,
That's it. I think everybody should. You should probably get like an internship program.
Yeah.
Bring them all up there and let them all work on the farm for a week.
We do actually have a lot of the the kids that are also 15 that our teenagers are friends with that are in high school now. This year is the first year, actually, we've had some of them working, actually a number of them working in the at the market with us. So that's been so awesome, having local teens, and it's a fun experience. I mean, they're working, but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate businesses that do look to our local youth to hire. Yeah. One of my favorite restaurants is Harvest Time.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of South River kids that are working there. I mean, you go to all these different places and you see the local businesses that say, hey, we need these kids. And, I mean, whether the kids know it or not, I mean, they're learning something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, whether
absolutely.
it be how to run a farm or whether how to run a cash register or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and businesses are so diverse. We have had a couple interns through AACPS and then also through the AAWDC, and our AACPS interns have helped me with behind the scenes things like Canva, you know, creating things for our social media, or, you know, helping with planning out our social media posts and things like that. We have a lot of vendors and small businesses that work with us, so it's about 150 at our field markets.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so they come on a rotating basis, and I have like spreadsheets essentially of like, this is who's going to be here this day. Can you plug this into the Canva template and just send it back to me? It's such a huge help. Or our AAWDC intern this past summer helped us outside on the farm, you know, with chores and with cleaning up some of our fence lines and stuff. And so it was like kind of a juxtaposition. I mean, yeah, we're a farm and it's a lot of outdoor hard work, but we also have this other aspect of our business that is very creative and very, you know, like the marketing aspect of it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about your market. You said you have 150 different vendors that rotate in and out. I mean, I've like I said, I've been there several times, and I've never noticed 150.
Well, so yes, they do come on a rotating basis, like 60-ish. Well, it's like 62 each day.
Yeah.
But essentially, we work with about 150. Some of them only come once. Some want to come all 12 or 13 dates, depending on how the dates fall. Sometimes we have more or less markets. But yeah, we definitely have a heart for the small business community. And in terms of the marketing, my background prior to all of this was I taught preschool part-time. The other part-time, I helped Matt and another company in the marine industry with their social media and marketing back when he was a small business owner for himself. They've since merged with a larger company. But yeah, my background helped a lot because I kind of had that inner knowing about social media, about SEO, about email marketing. So I've grown us in the last, will be 5 years in October.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So in that time, I've organically grown our, we have 5K email followers. We have, I think it's like 8.8K on followers on Instagram, almost 12K followers combined on Facebook, and likes and follows on Facebook. So I'm really proud of that aspect of it, because what it does is it gives me a platform to then share about the other awesome small businesses that partner with us.
Sure.
And that is really the heart behind the field market, is really plugging our community in with the people that are here in our community selling amazing goods. I mean, we have so many awesome, innovative people, and we have somebody that created their own coconut and soy blend candle wax. It is their actual candle wax. And you think of candles, you're like, they're a dime a dozen. This is the cleanest burning candle I've ever had ever. We have amazing bakers that, you know, manage a restaurant, but they went to culinary school and their dream is to open a brick and mortar. If we can be one small part of these stories just to give them a boost up or give them a leg up, that is the whole purpose of the field market.
And you sort of operate as a sort of a farmer's market type of a model.
Yeah.
Where if I am making whatever, I apply and say, and hey, this would be a good mix for us on these days, or you might say, well, it doesn't make sense for us to have you here every week.
Yeah.
Or every, you know, but we maybe 6.
Yeah. And we're pretty lenient. I mean, honestly, like the same way that Matt was talking about the farm leading the kind of path for us, I feel like the field market too, like as long as you have all your, you know, I's dotted and T's crossed, you have your licenses that you need, and you have your, you know, you're doing things the correct way in terms of any, like, you know, health department regulations or anything, we welcome pretty much anyone.
Well, I would say the one exception is we don't do MLM type
multi-level
businesses.
marketing.
You know, this is it gets grassroots.
Yeah, I like you guys even more now.
But one thing, just to piggyback on what Bridget was saying, and also to sort of piggyback again onto the wild aspect of things, the market was never what we set out to do. And the market is one of those situations where the farm kind of took a life of its own, and it was born out of COVID. The market was because when COVID hit and there's a big shutdown, really what we were doing at the time was we had these fields full of wildflowers that we were letting photographers lease time to do photography. Well, because we knew so many photographers, we knew a lot of people in the service industry that were immediately shut down. Right. And so, you know, we were talking to so many people, and everybody's, you know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And there's bakers and things like that. And we said, well, you know what? Technically, we're considered essential because we're a farm. and we're allowed to do an outdoor market. And so we said, you know what, we're not going to charge anybody. Just let's, whoever wants to come, we'll set up.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if 50 people showed up, I'd been shocked, and we were doing backflips. We were like, wow, I can't even believe that many people came.
And I think it was 8 vendors.
Yeah, it was 8 vendors, and we were just blown away that it was that big. And then no intention whatsoever doing another market, but everyone came back. They're like, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. And the people in the community were like, are you going to do this again? We want to come back. And we're like, well, we hadn't thought about it, but I guess we will. So the next market was maybe 12 vendors or something. And then it was 18. And then it was like, and then we were starting to get a waiting list, and it just grew, and it just grew and it grew.
You know, I love to hear a good story coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
That it was birthed out of there. And I mean, I think that everybody was so resilient and so creative on how to make a buck or how to make it work.
Yeah.
And,
Definitely.
and when nobody knew, I mean, COVID hit.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, we'll just like chill for a couple weeks and it'll be over.
Yeah.
Two and a half years later, it was like, and it's still going on.
Yes.
Here we are. We're like, 2024 is going to be the year. I know it.
And I mean, I sit here and I look back and it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's still here with us. And so that's a wonderful story that you're able to do it. We talked about the diversity of Anne Arundel County. And I mean, you go south of the South River, it tends to be like this no man's land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked with a health club down there one time. I said, we get people from Annapolis all the time.
Yeah.
And as soon as they hit the South River, you think it's like they're crossing into like Montana.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, I got to turn around. I can't get that far away from home. But South County is so rich in agriculture.
Yeah.
And, you've got some large farms that, the sod farms that are down there. You've got some, I guess there are probably still some tobacco farms that are still.
There probably are down south. I'm sure there probably are. Yeah.
No, do you have any favorite frenemy farms that you
Frenemy farms
that you like?
I mean, there's a lot of farms even in our immediate area. I mean, in terms of like farms that are kind of offering the same thing that we're offering, Honey's Harvest is a great one down in South County.
Right.
They do a similar kind of thing that we do, but I know that Anna and I always miss each other. We never actually have met, but we're like on Instagram together, and so I've never actually. But I feel like we're friends. It's one of those like online friendships, I guess you would say. But she has more of a holistic approach, even stronger than us. I know she does a lot of like cleanses and yoga and
she lives through that because of she had some illnesses and stuff like that to be able to do that. And I mean, she's living that life.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's so cool. I wish that I had more time to live like that. But she's awesome. And then there's Wild Kid Acres in is that Edgewater?
Edgewater,
yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And they're great. And they're even, I think that the coolest thing about we're talking about diversity, even within farms, there's diversity. Anna is doing a little bit more of the holistic, well, a lot more of the holistic. And then at Wild Kid Acres, they're doing, a lot of the animals and like, things with kids and like goat yoga and things like that. Whereas like, I'm a weirdo. I'm kind of like, don't touch my animals. And I don't know why I'm that way. I think it's the mom instinct or something. I don't want to do goat yoga. So if they're going to offer that, I think that that's amazing. And I will send people there, and I think that that's the cool thing about our diversity in our area is that we don't have to do it all. We can do what we love, and we can coordinate with other people and say, hey, you do birthday parties for kids, great. Or you do yoga with sound healing, great. I don't have to do that.
That's so great when you see small businesses. The rising tide raises all boats.
Yeah.
And when we do stick together as far as small businesses, okay, we're sitting here and Mark and Shannon own Bean Rush, okay, supporting a local small business, okay, you're making a couple of bucks off of string beans and berries and whatnot here, okay, and you're spending it here,
right,
exactly,
okay, and they're making a couple of bucks off of the lattes and they're coming up to your field market
exactly
to spend there, and that's really what makes our community so strong and to go around. What's the most rewarding thing for you about doing this since City Girl?
Well, if you're asking me, it's working with my best friend. I wouldn't.
Who's your best friend? You don't have to tell this guy.
Matt's my best friend.
Oh, thank God. I was like, man.
Well, I was joking.
Matt's in here sweating it out. Going, welcome to the newlywed game.
Exactly.
I knew this was going to happen.
No, it's funny. I was joking with him last night. I was like, guess who I think the cutest guy is? And he was like, please say me. Please say me. But Matt is like, I always tell him, even if I was like not married to him, didn't know him, just was working with him, I would prefer to work with him. He's easy to work with. He's so funny. He gets what he needs to get done. I don't have to worry about anything not happening. And I still don't get sick of him. We still hang out after we're done working. And so I think that that's the best thing. And then keeping our farm intact. Yeah. That's the other most rewarding thing. My children have grown up in a way that is not the way that I grew up, obviously, coming from the suburbs. And my kids can run down the driveway to their grandmother's or meet, up with their cousins and make a fort in the woods. Like it's a totally different lifestyle, but I would say it wouldn't work if it was my family, but and we can cut that out. But it works because it's Matt's family. They grew up this way and they kind of foster that.
It's a wholesome way. I mean, I do regret. I mean, I grew up probably in a similar background with you. It was the suburbs, and I mean, we saw the grandmothers and the cousins and stuff like that, usually at the big holidays, and there wasn't a whole lot of interaction. Yeah. But as our family matured, and the matriarchs, started to die off, and that a lot of the glue sort of went away, and the kids all moved. Somebody's over here, somebody's over here, and I really do miss that. Yeah, my kids don't know any of my cousins.
Right.
The only time they met them when they were like, ankle high. And there's something to be said about that. And I think that, while they may not necessarily, or they may recognize the benefit of it right now as children, to be able to have somebody when you're 30, to be able to call up on the phone and say, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe what happened.
Yes. 100%
is pretty much amazing, especially when they're within the same family. It's not just a friend that knows you. It's okay. So we're blood.
And we see that a lot with our 15-year-olds. Our son is 15, our niece is 15. They're 3 days apart, and they call each other their best friends, even to this day. And I just think that that's the best.
That's cool.
The best part.
Yeah, they do all love each other very much. And just to add to what Bridget was saying too. I mean, definitely. I couldn't be more grateful to be working with Bridget. This is the person I love. She's my best friend, and we have fun together. It doesn't mean everything's rainbows and lollipops, but we have a good time. And but the other rewarding aspect though of what we're doing is the sense of community, and it was kind of what you touched on with where there's like the business community, but also the local community and our involvement in the local community and seeing the local community come out to the market. I'd say the number one compliment that we get is people thanking us for providing a place for the community to gather.
Yeah.
And that is so rewarding.
There's a number of opportunities like that. Have you heard of Farm Unity?
No.
Okay. A guy named Jitendra Rathod, and I think I pronounced his name. I just spoke with him. He came over from India. He's working in tech or cyber, something, the government thing. And again, it came out of COVID. He said, we need to get fresh produce for people. And he cut a deal with the library in Crofton. I think it's like 4,500 or 6,500 square feet of their property.
Oh, yeah. In the Crofton Library?
Yeah. And they farmed it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they come in and at the end of the year, at the end of the season, they have a little party.
Yeah.
And they use it and they donate the rest to the food banks and stuff like this. So it was all the community. But he said, we were in the middle of COVID. And we closed the door and we drew the blinds and, we hid behind, we didn't talk to anybody. We didn't, God forbid, we shook hands with anybody or get within 6 feet. I mean, it was horrible. When I was walking in the morning and, you're walking down the street and somebody crosses the street to get away from you. It's like, I'm like,
do I smell?
Give me that.
What did I do? And he said he's just gotten such a great response because he offered a space for the community, very similar to what you're doing, that you're giving a space to the community to come together and really define themselves, which is amazing.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, one of the things that happened and in conjunction with the markets having started that we didn't plan for, but was just amazing. The kids were doing virtual schooling. Well, oftentimes the teachers that they had would come to the market, and so would the families, so they could actually see their teacher. Because these are kids that were in elementary school, and you have these teachers that knew their siblings and know their family, and they were so excited to have them in their class, and they never got to see them, but they could come to the market and they would get to see them. And it was such a heartwarming thing to see that.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was neat.
Do you guys have any plans for? I mean, you can't really expand the farm unless you're buying like Disney, buying up all the land around it or something like that.
I wish.
But I mean, other different initiatives or what's on the future for Wildberry Farm Market? Do you have it yet? Can you tell?
Yeah. I mean, well, we're always trying to do new things. I mean, like for instance, I have I actually bought 2 dairy goats as little kids from a farm in South County. It's a really cool farm, and it's called Gray Goat Soap. And she has, it's our friend Kim. She has a bajillion goats, and she does fresh goat milk, and she sells at our market. And I'm hoping to breed them soon and have dairy, just for us at first, for our family, but hopefully, be able to utilize it somehow on the farm. We recently added ducks, so we're going to have duck eggs soon. That was an adventure. I'm more of a chicken girl, but we are.
Now, is that a phrase that you ever figured you would ever possibly utter 20 years ago?
No.
I'm a chicken girl myself.
It's funny. I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. And apparently it was a chicken girl. But we are also adding a couple new events this season. Like I said, the winter hours, which will be through March 23rd, every Saturday, 9 to noon. And again, it'll just be Wildberry. And then we'll have a couple spring hours in the spring on the 2nd and 4th Saturday. Obviously, the field market, which is a staple. Adding First Fridays on the farm, which will be kind of a fun hangout with live music. Our food trailer will be open. We are hoping to host maybe like Crooked Crab is one of our partners. They could do like a little beer garden or something. And we are doing some date night events on Fridays in August, September, and October. And then a couple like girls' day out workshop type of things in November. So always trying to add new things, do new things. But, in terms of like adding any big projects like we've done the last 3 years, we're not doing any of that this year because I don't know if I could emotionally handle it. The food trailer took a lot out of us, but and then adding new things to the food trailer as well, and just new things to the market stand. We're always trying to do something fun and different.
It's so great to see the passion that you guys both have for it. I mean, it's not a job for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It pays some bills, but you go to work every day. It seems like you love it. I mean, there are bad days,
of course. There always are.
But all in all, that you do enjoy doing it. You enjoy what you do for the community, and certainly the community does enjoy what you do for them. But I do encourage everybody to jump up to St. Stephen's Church Road, and that's 1047. You can put that into your GPS, or if you're coming from West County, come down. Get down on Route 3, head north on 3, and go down to St. Stephen's Church Road. It'll be out there on the left. And if you're coming off of Route 450, it'll be on the right after you get through all the windy things.
Yes.
Just before if you get to Route 3, you've gone a little bit too far. Back up. But the website is wildberryfarmmarket.com. And as we've talked, what's really very cool about this whole thing, and you said about what you're looking to expand and what you're looking to do, is that you've allowed not only the farm to dictate your direction, but you've also allowed it and the community to dictate the direction of your business is going, which is really very refreshing to see. And I, congratulate you on your successes, even though starting in 2019 was, in hindsight, probably like, what was I thinking?
What have we done?
I've had those moments.
To be able to, I can almost say it's not going to, you've seen the worst of it at this point. But to be able to survive and thrive and create this through COVID is just absolutely stellar. And congratulations. You should be thumping your chest for that. Everybody get out to Wildberry Farm and Market. When the spring rolls around, you've got plenty of opportunities to do it all through the summer and pretty much most of the fall.
Yeah.
If you want to follow along with us on social media, I'm always doing crazy stuff. Instagram at Wildberry Farm Market, and Facebook is facebook.com/Wildberry Farm Market.
TikTok?
No TikTok yet.
Snapchat?
No Snapchat.
YouTube?
No.
MySpace?
MySpace.
Back in the day, prior to Wildberry, maybe.
Friendster? Get out there, and if you've not been, it's really a very cool experience. And Bridget and Matt, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.